something, you know he likes to get a quick
Penny! This is driven! Sorry!
Welcome to a new series of Driven, and luckily we have 3 unsquashed off-roaders to test in the Driven 100, where each car is scored in 4 categories: drivability, desirability, practicality and the cost of ownership. Mike takes his top off in the south of France with the new Peugeot 206 Cabriolet. And think you're getting a good deal on new cars now that the manufacturers have dropped prices? Well, we've got news for you.
Is the Challenger 2 tank, said to be the best in the world. It carries 4 passengers, weighs 64 tonnes, has a maximum speed of 45 miles an hour, and it costs a whopping 3.2 million quid. Now, for a fraction of that price, you could take all 3 of this week's cars home. Like the Challenger 2, off-roaders drink fuel and can be a pig to park. As if that weren't enough, they have a tendency to lean precariously through tight corners. But now there are some new kids on the block that claim to be as nifty on the black stuff, that's tarmac to you and me, as they are in the mud.
BMW thinks its first purpose-built off-roader, the X5, is such a hoot to drive, they launched on a racetrack. Souped-up off-roaders? Well, you better get used to them. Even Porsche's building one later this year.
Drug dealer, moi, but luckily you can get a Lexus RX300 in less sinister colours than this. Like the X5, it's designed to be a luxury car first and a flood rescue vehicle second. It's got an options list the size of Wales, and it makes BMW's offerings look positively mean.
Believe it or not, this Mercedes ML320 is the cheapest car here. It's not a favourite on Driven, but it's a big hit in Chelsea. And unlike the other 2, this car's got some more traditional off-road features, like a low-range gearbox and a separate chassis, which means the chassis is made up of a big steel girder, much like you get in the original Land Rover.
So, to our first test. And with little help from the British Army in Germany, it's showdown time. This is the place where the Royal Scots Dragoon Guards train with their no-nonsense Army Land Rovers. Now, we've been here for just 2 minutes and look at the state of the cars. This is true off-roading. And are these up to the job? Well, Mike and Penny are about to find out.
Now the BMW X5 has permanent 4-wheel drive with 62% of its drive going to the rear wheels and 38% to the front.
It really is quite a challenging course this. You can't believe sitting in the car that a car can actually get across this stuff. It is so carved up.
It's just incredible.
It's got stability and traction control hooked up with ABS. It's got tons of technology. Right, so quite an intense hill coming up. Stop at the top. Whoa, stop there.
Why?
So now we're going to use the hill descent control system, which is a technology that they've got from Land Rover on the old Freelander. So you press a button, just coast over the crest of the hill and take your feet off of everything.
My feet are off everything.
What it's doing is it's finding the wheel with the most grip and it's braking that wheel.
It's really remarkable. You can just hear the wheels braking in all the 4 corners. So you don't really have to do anything.
BMW, mate, I'll tell you, why didn't you launch this vehicle on this off-road course? Because it's making mincemeat out of it.
I think the Challenger 2 tank has just been made redundant. The Lexus 3-litre VVTi, it feels instantly much lower down than the BMW, and I think it's going to struggle over a lot of this big stuff.
However, it's got permanent 4-wheel drive, and this car has got some trick stuff in it as well. Anti-slip control and traction control.
But you know what? It's got all those gadgets and gizmos, but it's sliding around where the BMW has lots of grip, and really you could feel the 4-wheel drive a lot more than you can in here.
Now we've got quite an intense hill in front of us coming up.
This is making me nervous, because I think it's going to bottom out here.
No, come on, we're going to make it.
I know, and we're stuck.
And we are stuck.
And there you go. I just kind of knew this was going to happen.
I'm going to suggest that you give it a little bit more
Would
willy
you
this
like to
time.
put some money on this hill?
No, I would just like to see if we can get up it. So go on, foot down, girl, up we go. Go on, see?
It's sliding all over the shop.
It hasn't got, but you can feel it scrabbling, all that electronic stuff kicked in there, and it took us over that hill, no problem at all.
But it just doesn't have the kind of traction the BMW's got. Nothing like it.
Well, first impressions for me in the Mercedes ML320 is that we're riding over the same ruts and bumps that we were in the previous two cars, and it seems to be coping with it again, you know, quite admirably.
Obviously we've got the V6 3.2 litre engine, and the drive is split 50-50 in here.
This car, unlike the other two, has got electronic selectable low-range gears. It's got ABS assist, and that's designed for off-road use as well. So as you're going down a hill and you've got your foot on the brake, it's detecting what wheel, yet again, is slipping, and it applied a braking force to that wheel.
I have to say I'm not nearly as comfortable in here as I was in the other two, and somehow it just feels much more raw. I guess more of an off-roader than a limousine like the BMW. I really did expect this one to be more agile over the bumps, and it's not.
Large overhangs hampered the Lexus off-road. It comes last. The Merc lacked refinement but made it round the muddy course and comes second. So the winner by a country mile is the BMW.
Is it hoods up or down in this season's fashions? Well, Peugeot think they have the answer.
Viens dans les quartiers voir le paradis.
Saint-Tropez, playground of the rich and famous. Just a place for cruising with the roof down.
Viens dans les quartiers voir le paradis.
But even on the Riviera, the weather can be unpredictable. So what if it rains? Well, this convertible has a trick up its sleeve.
Things that fold away are really cool. Take this micro scooter, for example. It folds down into a nice, neat little package.
Bonjour.
Or that swanky-looking Mercedes-Benz SLK with its metal roof that folds neatly into the boot, but that'll set you back nearly 40 grand. Well, now you can have a Saint-Tropez image for talking money with this Peugeot's 206cc. And the CC, well, it stands for Coupe Cabriolet.
Peugeot kicked off the whole folding roof thing back in the 30s. Although the 206cc has a similar system to the Mercedes SLK, this car will only set you back 16 grand, which puts it in a class of its own. But it can perform equally well as a coupe and as a cabriolet.
The advantages of this are clear because in England, very much like in the south of France this time of year, we get inclement weather, and security, that plays heavy on our mind. So having a car with a tin top is a definite advantage. The 206cc has the same, if not better, sporty ride than its sibling, the GTI. Extra rigidity throughout the chassis means this car has got great neutral handling. In fact, on slippery roads like this, it's a struggle to get it wrong. And now for the best bit, the spectacular folding roof, which can be retracted while you're on the move. That's if you're doing less than 7 miles an hour. You pull these two little catches down here, press this button, and there it goes. The whole thing starts to whir back. Why 7 miles an hour? Well, it's obvious. So you can pose. Arm on the window. Yeah. Look at this. Fantastic. So you then lose the claustrophobic feel of the interior cabin and you're transported into the world of suntan chic and cappuccino froth.
Roof down the 206cc continues to impress with hardly any wind noise even at high speeds. This is the top of the range 2 litre version on your forecourts now. The 137 brake horsepower engine will get you to 127 miles per hour with ease, and 0 to 60 only takes 8.5 seconds. Inside you get sport seats, silver-faced instrument panels and sporting touches everywhere. Look, this is all just too good to be true. There must be some flaws in this car.
The perfect view and the perfect day to take your mates out for a ride. Now Peugeot tell us the 206 Coupe Cabriolet is a 2+2, which means 2 adults in the front and 2 something or others in the back. Admittedly, you can get a case in there, but they say they've hollowed out these rear seats to maximise legroom. But whatever you do, don't offer to take any of your mates for a ride, even if they're half the size of me. All right, guys, can somebody let me out now?
OK, forget about ferrying passengers around, but with the roof up there's a good-sized boot, and even in sunshine mode there's still room for a large suitcase, which fits under the protective cover. There'll be a 1.6 version available later this year at around 14 grand in the UK. But here's a downer for all of us. The 206cc will be 3 grand cheaper in France.
So, it looks like I got my Saint-Tropez image after all. Now, when this car hits the UK, we expect the 1.6 to be the big seller, probably on price alone. Let's face it, this car's going to spend most of its life outside the coffee bars of England, so it needs the 137 brake horsepower anyway. The 206cc serves its purpose well both as a coupe and a cabriolet. It's like two cars rolled into one. And priced at 15,995 quid, we expect Peugeot to sell shed loads of them. However, I still think it's overpriced by about £1,000, so it looks like you will need to get your fold in to buy one after all. Au revoir.
For more on the cars featured in this show, plus a preview of the Detroit Motor Show, log on to allthews4car.co.uk. After the break, the battle continues in the Driven 100, and we've got some shocking news on car prices.